Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Andrea Blum, the founder of Build All Real Estate Inc. Andrea will be sharing more about her founding journey and giving us a glimpse into plans for future growth. Andrea, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me today. Such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
I'm excited, and I'm excited to dive in. So, with all of my guests, Andrea, I do actually like to start at the beginning of their journey. So if you don't mind briefly taking me back to what it was you was doing before you started up Build All Real Estate Inc. And then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
Sounds good. Thank you for the question. I don't know how back you want to go.
How far is relevant? Where do you feel like the journey kind of started for you in like entrepreneurship?
I think from the day one, I knew that I'm not going to work for anybody else. And I start working when I was very, very young. I was in art school. So I start making money by creating art, selling it. So my entrepreneurial journey started then when I was probably 10, 13. And then I moved from just arts into special effect makeup. And I was also a solopreneur at the time. I created my own company where we were doing special effects for movie industry. And that was back home in Romania. And then when I moved to Canada, I wanted to do the same thing because it's very fulfilling. It's true. It's a very demanding business. You're on set, 13 hours every day, and then all the prep and the cleaning after. So you're basically out of the house for 18, 19 hours every day, and you barely sleep. So when I moved here, I was lucky enough to have enough feature movie completed back home that I was welcomed into the union right away. However, the union was very restricted in Canada of how you can work. The union is giving you jobs, and I'm more of get-goer. I'm going to find my own jobs. I'm going to interview. I'm going to do what I want to do. So it very, very fast started to shift from the pleasant environment of finding and the joy of finding your own work and doing the work into I'm at the mercy of the them to give me jobs. So I started to look into different other alternatives. And I was new in Canada and I was a new immigrant. I had no background. I had nothing. Like my art school didn't mean anything here. And I thought, what can I do that doesn't require a long time of studying and a lot of money to put in? And I literally, I just type in the computer and Google and figure out what can I do that really sky's the limit. And I found real estate, and I double check again, real estate came up, and I said, okay, maybe I'll look into this thing called real estate. So I took my courses, and that was it. I end up being a real estate agent. And if you're a real estate agent, you're an entrepreneur because you really, I know you have to have your license hang to one of those brokerages at which they hire you, but the reality is you're on your own. You have to figure out this business. And I think it has two sides, the amazing side of making as much money as you want based on your effort. And the fact that you're on your own, it's the other side that you don't know if you're doing things right or how you do, how you're going to make a living. And for me, it was quite challenging because my English wasn't really that good and I didn't have a sphere of influence, which is one of the first things that they teach you here. Go to your sphere, let them know that you're in real estate and find your business. And for me, it was like, I don't know anybody here. So what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to get business from? So I started really grounding from the bottom up, just door knocking, old sales school, techniques, going at the door, finding people. Because at the end of the day, where were all of these clients on the streets with their homes waiting for me to door knock them? So I did that. And I think this career has a very predictable path if you're to be successful in this industry. You start as a solo agent, you're successful, And the second you find success in that, the only way of growing is by multiplying yourself. So
Yeah.
immediately you go into that head frame of, I'm going to start a team. This is the
Yeah.
natural transition. So I started a team. I started a team a couple of times and I failed dramatically in the first year. I started a team in my first year. After my first year in real estate, I did so well that I thought, okay, I can build a team. I had no idea what I was doing. And it was a complete disaster. Not only that I wasn't good at it, but I had no skills whatsoever, because it's one thing to think that you're good at sales or to actually be good at sales, and completely different thing to be a leader and lead others to motivate
100%.
them to be good at sales. So that failed a couple of times before I figured that out. And then the natural transition after you build a team and you're successful at it is, okay, maybe I should open my own brokerage. And usually that's how it goes. So to answer your question, because you asked me a double question there, where everything started and how I end up actually having my corporation right now, which is called Build All Real Estate. I actually started building a foundation of training for the people in my team. And because I was planning on purchasing a large brokerage of over 120 agents, and it took about 2 years to kind of figure out all the logistics and finances and all of that. In that period of time, I thought, if I repeat myself every single time with every single agent to let them know what they're supposed to be doing, it's going to be a waste of time. So I started recording myself every time we had like a sales meeting, every time we had or a Zoom, I start recording myself. So slowly, this became like a hub of a lot of information to be delivered to people. Funny enough, after 2 years of looking into purchasing this brokerage, I realized that it's not a profitable business. And I was very disappointed. I was at the verge of leaving the industry altogether. And I think by all standards of all people that knew my production at the time and my team production, they thought that I'm completely crazy to
Yeah.
consider exiting the industry. Hear me out on this. I think real estate is a great equalizer, and I think is a great way of creating generational wealth, but it's still created based on trading time in order to
Yeah.
gain that wealth. And for me, it was clear that I have to figure out a way in which my value should be different than every day spent with consumers, servicing the consumer. So once that entered my consciousness, it was almost impossible to get it out of my head. And I said, it has to be a business and not a good, work environment, because it's a good job, but it's not a business. You still have to trade your time um, for money. So what my thought was always that opening that brokerage, purchasing that franchise, that's going to be my ticket into getting that financial freedom, but also my time freedom. And after looking at not only one, but multiple brokerages to purchase, I realized this is no longer a profitable business. And then it was just coincidental between having all of these recordings put together and the disappointment that I'm not going to go that route into what about if I actually have an online business where I teach agents regardless of what brokerages are at. And it kind of just came up naturally and organically to go that route because I had that. And I started to kind of take it seriously. What can I do with this? How can I capitalize on this effort? And also, I realized as I was doing it over the years, this is truly my passion. This is
Mm.
really, I like what I'm doing. I like to motivate people. I like to share what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And I also like the other side, which is collecting the information. Like over the years, I spent over $200,000 in just getting information, either that I had my own coaches, one-on-one coaches, which I always had a coach. Right now I have a business coach, not anymore a sales coach, going to retreats, going to seminars, going to purchasing tons of um, um, you know, courses. And that all that information, I felt the need of kind of moving forward
Yeah.
to others. And then I didn't actually take it that serious. I was just kind of dabbling in and figuring out how I'm going to make this happen before I came across a revenue share model in real estate, which really started to make sense to me. It allows me to build without liability, allows me to focus on the training of people. It's basically network marketing within real estate.
Yeah.
And it allows us to grow our own organizations without having the liability and all the things that I didn't like when I realized what it means to own a brokerage, all the paperwork, all of the admin stuff. It's not for me. That's not where I wanted to spend my time. So it started to make sense to me that if I start to develop more and more this portion of the business and combine it with the revenue share of growth within real, this will work very, very well together. And it's almost like spending your time in one place and having two businesses from one effort. That's pretty much how it ended up transpiring for me. So I hope I was able to answer your question in a very convoluted way.
100%. And you painted the picture for me the whole way out. Like I kind of saw the joins added together, like, imagining you did in real time as well. It's like, well, that makes sense. Why don't I just do that here? And why don't I pivot this? Because like, as you said, I've worked in real estate, not to the extent that you have, but it is a lot, you are, and you end up becoming an entrepreneur, a solo entrepreneur, even though you are tied to somebody else's business, so it is a lot of work. It's a lot of face to face. It's a lot of grind. And if you're starting out in that, it's so hard to navigate through. It's so hard to get your head around. There's so much, as you say, so much knowledge. So it's amazing now that you've made all those investments into yourself and now passing that information on to other people that are in a very similar situation to you. So let's dive into that a little bit more. You've intrigued me. So when it comes to like now, like the modern day, who would you say is your ideal client? Like who do you very, very much love to work with? And then from there, how is it you help and how do you support people?
It's a great question. And who's my avatar of the people that I work with? I started initially catering all of my teachings and everything to listing agents.
Mm,
I always believed in becoming a listing agent. And we can talk until tomorrow about why you should become a listing agent if you're in real estate versus a buyer agent, and spend as less time as possible and delegate that, hire for that. There's a lot of people that can cover for you on the buyer side. It doesn't mean that you're not servicing buyers at all. But it's so important if you want to scale, if you want to really build a scalable business, you need to be a listing agent. So that was that I was preaching that from day one. Another thing that I think it's important to mention is that I came out at a time where social media was the focus of every single possible coach out there in real estate. And it was very hard for me
yeah,
to stand up on the premise of something that is built differently than through social media, and to actually be very outspoken of the fact that social media, it's a phenomenal platform. I mean, you found me on social media and I use it every day. I believe in it, but it's still just one pillar out of your business, which is based on the marketing side of the business. And if you're taking that and you're replacing that with sales, and you're replacing with marketing, you're replacing sales and prospecting and your pipeline, that's a problem, because soon you're going to find yourself empty.
yeah,
So for me to continue in such a strong market where all the coaches were preaching just social media and do nothing else, you can just breathe. As long as you breathe and you post on social media, you're going to have clients. For me, it was very tough, because my conversations were, do you have great communication skills? Do you know how to follow up? Do you know how to price properties? Do you know how to sell? Do you know how to negotiate? There's so much more than dancing on TikTok. So to me, it was like the two of them can coexist together. And I can tell you right now, and I still believe that somebody who's doing everything that I teach would do extremely well. If they combine it with social media, they're going to do fantastic. Someone who's doing only social media and does none of this, it will struggle tremendously. So this for me was a very challenging time because you start to kind of doubt yourself in a sense of, hey, am I out of touch? Well, in the meantime, my team and myself were still closing a lot of transactions in times where things started to be really tough. And I stayed true to myself and what I believe in and consider social media as a marketing tool and continue doing what you need to do in sales.
Yeah.
So, um, my avatar were always the people that didn't want the magic pill, put it this way. If you were looking for the easy, like I remember I even had campaigns that were like, this is not easy. Like all
Yeah.
of the campaigns of coaches out there were about the easy way to do this, the easy way to do this. And mine was the opposite, the hard way to do things that actually make money and work. If you really, really want to make that $500,000 this year in GCI, you have to do the hard things that most people don't want to do, and the boredom repetition and all of the things that, the rejection that you need to be, facing and all of that. So it was pretty hard to keep my avatar over time. But here's the beauty of it. Now, and I would say last year I started, I think there's plenty of people out there that tried really hard to make their business solo through social media. And the statistics were in the whole time. Social media is here for the last 11 years. Now it will be the 12 years. That the percentage of people that succeed from social media is so tiny. It's under 1%. And it's not to be used. It's to understand that we're not all Sweeney or whatever other actresses, Nicole Kidmans of the world, that we have that kind of appeal to be able
Yeah.
to transform social media into such a powerful tool. I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm saying that statistic wise, you'll be surprised of how many people actually can do a proper business. And it's funny with ChatGPT, which by the way is a completely different thing, AI, and I'm a huge fan of it. One day I said to AI, I want you to give me the stats from the United States and Canada on where consumers are finding their clients and where they're most likely to hire people. And social media came last. And
Interesting.
again, another way to see that I'm not saying not to use it, but use it for what is designated for this business, which is marketing portion.
Yeah.
Over time, I would say last year, specifically end of 2024 and the entire 2025, my courses and my teaching and my one-on-one also coaching shifted from listing agents predominantly into a mix between becoming a listing agent and building a team. So I start working with team leaders. I start working actually with broker owners, and kind of shifted a little bit, either my content, everything that I send by email. By the way, I send every day an email with something that is useful. So it's not sales, it's
Mm-hmm.
just tips. So if anybody's interested in receiving daily tips for really tactical things that they can implement in their business, they can email me and I'll add them to the list. I think for me that's more useful than my Instagram, where I also share everyday tips, but I love to send specifics through emails. So I switched a little bit, and now it's a mix of both between becoming a listing agent and becoming a team leader or a broker owner.
Amazing. And I do want again just to highlight what you're saying about social media and then obviously having social media for marketing and then having to have the back end sales skills as well because it's so true. People think I'm just going to start an Instagram account, I'm going to post loads of stuff and I'll get loads of clients. It doesn't work like that. You do have to have both ways. Like, okay, it'd be amazing. You might get people coming in, but if you don't know how to set a client or you don't know how to actually get them onto your calendar to become a client, it's useless just doing social media. So I just great. It was just such
I
a great
think
point to highlight.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I was talking recently with one of my coaching clients is I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan. I've been to their retreats, I've been through their everything that you can imagine, I've done it. And I bring it always to my team and to my downline at Rio to be exposed to that. We go together to events. And one of the things that I was talking with my coaching client is Tony Robbins is probably one of the most known figures in any industry that has anything to do with entrepreneurship and business and all of that. And let me tell you, they spend tons of money in marketing and they post on social media all the time. And guess what they do? They pick up the phone.
They have a sales team. Yep, they
They
do.
pick up the phone. They do send the emails, they do post on Instagram, but they pick up the phone. And if Tony Robbins has to pick up the phone in order to, have a stadium full of people after he has billions of dollars, then who am I in real estate to say, well, I just posted on Instagram this morning. I'll be waiting for people to reach out to me, which could happen, but it's not scalable if you're not controlling it, which is pick up the phone. Somebody liked something, send a DM. That's the
Yep,
prospect. You can definitely prospect with social media, which I do it all the
yep.
time. But I don't dismiss the prospecting portion, which is picking up the phone, sending that DM, trying to set that meeting. By the way, you found me on Instagram, and on LinkedIn.
I
However,
dropped a message.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was a message sent, and not only that, guess what? There was a three follow-ups you guys did for me to be able to set up this meeting. So that portion is full sales. But if you guys didn't have enough for me to have an interest to see, of course, I checked you out. I looked at you. I made a decision. I'm going to be on this podcast. I'm not saying dismiss that portion. I'm just saying that if you would have not picked up the phone to send that text message and follow up with me 3 times to book this, it would have been no customer.
100%. 100, and that's again with Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins, as you said, he's the man he's the man on the mission. He's the man in the space. He's the one you want to follow. But he has very good sales and operations behind him.
Yeah.
Not to downcredit his skill or the amazing man that he is, but the two together is an unbeatable combination, and that's exactly the theme that we need to follow. So when
They
it
pick
does
up
come
the
to
phone.
pick up the phone, when it does come to like for yourself, that when you go about acquiring your own customers or your own prospecting, like are you running any form of like social media ads to drive the campaign, or how are you where are you finding it most effective in finding the right people to work with for yourself?
So it's a very interesting topic, running ads. So hear me out on this, which I found for myself that worked better. But again, it's a lot of work. I get my customers for my built community, which is my main program right now that I have, which is a monthly subscription, organically through social media. And I
Nice. Okay.
find for me the consistency, the email send out, the combination between this two, it and the amount of events that I do for free online where people sign up for it, it's been really rewarding for me. Everything in this space of training has a shelf life, which means that you have to constantly reinvent yourself, bring something new to the table, in order for the course or for the training to really be supported. And I found for me that hey, I'm switching right now the time that I was spending with clients and servicing them in real estate into creating programs, which I like. It's true. I can do that from the comfort of my couch. I can have one program that it's oversold over and over again. It doesn't have to be reinvented. It's way better in terms of a business model without a question, but it's still not quite there of what I would have liked to. So that's where the revenue share and the network marketing through Real comes in place, because
Yeah.
through my business with Build, I attracted a lot of people that had their eyes on me for the coaching portion, but they started to look at my secondary business, which is actually my primary business, which is the
Yeah.
revenue share model. So then a portion of these people jump in there. So for me, this
No.
is the number one reason I keep nurturing the Build community, because it brings me
Yeah.
people on the other side of the business. When it comes to ads, I find that ads, just for the sake of ads, they didn't perform as well for me. But I found that some ads work better when there was a full campaign in place. And I'll outline for you what I mean by that. When I had a free webinar that people were able to see it, which was pre-recorded basically, then I got more traction than, for example, if I do soft launches and I do ads on a regular basis. And I decided I have built since 4 years. This will be my fifth year. And only last year I did ads the entire year. And I tried different things to see really what works the best for me specifically. I have to keep in mind that we're also very niche-like.
Yeah.
For example, my kind of business doesn't apply to any other, like very few other businesses will benefit from a course like mine. It's very specific for real estate. So that was something that I had to keep in mind. But to answer your question, the Facebook ads and ads in general worked for me when there was a free webinar, and I did
Yeah.
a free webinar of an hour and a half. So it was a 90 minutes webinar, which was packed of information. So when I did that and I ran ads for that webinar, I had tremendous success into purchasing a higher ticket, which is something that I also learned. Selling a higher ticket was easier than, for example, a monthly subscription, but the monthly subscription is way longer run. So to answer your question, there's both depending on what you sell at what time and how you launch your things.
100%. And it is like, it's about painting yourself as that specialist in your field, which is, as you're saying about the webinar, it's adding value to it so that you're already attracting people with that. And once they're drawn into a webinar, it's amazing. Sometimes just throwing things in the air without any intention behind is when an ad won't work. You know, you have to have that specific kind of person you're looking for. But Andrea, I am excited to get on to your plans for the future. So like when you think of the next, obviously being at the start of the year, when you think of the next 6 to 12 months, like what is that vision for you? Where do you like see the company going?
So there were a couple of things that I really learned, and I almost feel like only now in my fifth year, I can look back and have a more cohesive idea of what I like and to do, but also what rewards me the most. And I actually eliminated all the other because there were a couple of things that you were able to purchase within my company from the one-on-one, which I realized if I want to continue with a one-on-one, I would have to start hiring coaches and
Yeah.
teaching my formula. It came at a point where that's not sustainable. I just can't do that by myself anymore. And then when I looked at it, I said, you know what? Let's finish 2026 with the people that I have on one-on-one coaching and revise next year at the end of next year if I want to continue with the one-on-one coaching. That would mean for me to put the time and energy into training trainers to teach my formula. Then it was the Listing Academy, which was my signature program, which has done amazing for me. I'm so pleased and so happy. It did run its course. You know, I was even surprised that it went as long as it went. And I felt that it's time to switch it. And I
Okay.
think for me, it was super. I noticed something that was very, very telling about the industry. The fact that things are changing at such a fast pace that if you create a program at the beginning of 2025, of course, I would say 60 to 70% of what's in that program is still relevant, but you have about 35% that is no longer relevant because everything changed between the AI, which changed so much. So that's where my idea was, what if I actually take that formula of sharing things into having it share on a monthly basis and on the weekly basis, because that becomes way more relevant and people can actually also have a different way of consuming that information. I can tell you right now that I know so many people, and specifically in my program, that sign up, they take a big program which requires a lot of commitment, and they never end up finishing or not even coming close to half of it because
Yeah.
it's so much information. So I thought, if I do something that it's a monthly subscription that allows me to constantly be at the top of what's happening in the industry, and not only that, take it even more. And I thought, I'm one person with one experience. I truly believe that now, due to my one-on-one coaching clients and people that actually in my downline that take my teachings, and I see that things are working and they are successful and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not like they're just getting by. But the reality is, I'm one person. And I thought, what if in that program, which is a monthly subscription, I can have other trainers coming in on different subjects, different ways of doing things. Maybe people that are interested in doing Facebook ads for leads, that something I don't teach. I don't train on that. I'm not a specialist on that. Maybe there's people that want to learn more about social media. That's not something that I teach. I teach how to become a listing agent, how to close transactions. So for me, it was important to develop this into something bigger where more people can come in, and also easier to digest and more relevant for each week.
Yeah, so the one-to-many approach, as you say, more of an evergreen system, but keeping it relevant, which is really cool. As you say, bringing different people in each month, not so much relying on your coaching needs, just a really innovative idea, which is really, really cool. Where are you probably finding like the biggest challenge for yourself, Andrea, in the next year, like maybe pivoting and taking a couple new steps for yourself?
My biggest pivoting right now is to go back. It's so funny, I teach that on every single day without exception. Spend your time in the money making activities. And I spend my time so much into building a brand for the last 5 years, which paid me off a lot. However, I realized that the network marketing that's happening within Real, it's a tremendous business. And when I say a tremendous business, I don't think they understand the power of duplication and multiplication that you have through a network marketing. So for me, by having already put in place from last year the build community to run smoothly this year, eliminating the distractions, everything else between all the other programs that were part of build, and staying focused into building the network marketing at Real, that's my focus this year, to just focus on that. And the build also runs by itself right now. So I'm really really dialed into bringing people to Real, and to get access to not only me but get access to everything that we do. And the part that I'm super excited and passionate about Real is when somebody comes in and joins me, it really jumps into the same opportunity like mine. They have an opportunity to build an organization for themselves. So that's, to me, it's such a fair position to attract people, to bring people in, and to know that they can build their generational wealth through this revenue share model in real estate besides transactions, and to be able to retire and also have this kind of like nurturing community. I'm so passionate about it, and this is the first year that's going to be my main focus.
I love it. And 2026 is going to be a great year. I can hear the passion when you speak as well, so it's so cool, and there's such exciting things to come. But Andrea, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can our listeners reach out best to work with you, connect with you, and just find out more about all the amazing work that you're doing?
If you go on Instagram, which is _Andrea Blum, and it's Blum, BLUM. Some people get confused and thought that it's Blum with 2 O. No, it's BLUM, Andrea Blum, _Andrea Blum on Instagram. If you message me, I reply myself on my messages, but also in my link in my bio, you can actually sign up for the newsletter, and you're going to start receiving these tips on a daily basis. And again, there's nothing to be sold through these emails. It's for me to really give back to people, and whoever finds value, they can come and reach out to me and maybe join me at Real.
There we go. Amazing. And thank you again for joining us. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to go and drop Andrea a message. And do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, Visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from $0 to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing, and we will see you on the next one.